The Galactic Concord ruled most of the known stars. It was not an empire of conquest but of order. Thousands of species, millions of worlds, all bound by treaties older than some suns. The Concord believed in one truth above all others. The universe could be understood, measured, and controlled. Science was power. Knowledge was dominance. And by those standards, humanity barely mattered. The first time humans appeared before the Concord Council, the chamber was full. Not because anyone feared them, but because curiosity was cheap entertainment. The chamber floated in open space, a vast ring of crystal and light. Stars burned slowly beyond transparent walls. Delegates sat in gravity-adjusted platforms, towering insectoid scholars, gas-filled thinkers in containment spheres, ancient machine minds glowing with cold logic. At the center stood the human delegation. 5 of them. Small, soft, fragile. They are unimpressive, clicked High Scholar Threx of the Veln Hive, his mandibles twitching. Primitive biology. Short lifespan. Inefficient neural density. A ripple of agreement passed through the chamber. The humans wore simple dark uniforms. No armor. No visible weapons. Their leader, Admiral Elena Cross, stood calmly with her hands behind her back. She met the stares without flinching. Species designation, human, droned the Concord archivist. Origin, Sol system. Technological level, mid-tier interstellar. Military capability, minimal. A tall crystalline being shimmered with faint laughter. They burned fossil fuels barely 4 centuries ago, it said. Charming. The vote to admit humanity into the Concord passed easily. Weak species were rarely a threat. As the session ended, one of the humans spoke. "Thank you for letting us join," Admiral Cross said. Her voice was steady. "We're here to learn." Threx leaned forward. "Learn quickly," he replied. "The galaxy is not kind to those who lag behind." Admiral Cross smiled. The lesson came sooner than anyone expected. 3 cycles later, the Car Dominion crossed Concord space. The Car were ancient. They had mastered energy manipulation before humans learned agriculture. Their ships bent gravity like cloth. Their weapons erased fleets in seconds. They did not ask permission. They attacked border systems first. Concord defense fleets responded with confidence, and were annihilated. Holograms of burning worlds filled the council chamber. "This is impossible," said an Aurelian tactician. "Our simulations predicted a 92% victory chance." The machine mind OX9 processed battle data at impossible speed. "Correction," it said. "Our models were flawed." Fear spread through the Concord for the first time in millennia. The Car broadcast their message across all frequencies. "We are the inheritors of this galaxy," boomed a voice like cracking stone. "Submit or be erased." Entire species surrendered within days. Others vanished. The Concord scrambled. Fleets were recalled. Ancient superweapons were unlocked. Still, system after system fell. In the chaos, humanity was forgotten. Until a junior analyst noticed something strange. "Why are human systems still intact?" she asked. The data was clear. Car fleets bypassed human space entirely, marking it as non-strategic. Too weak to matter. When the question reached the council, Threx dismissed it. "They are irrelevant," he said. "The Car do not waste time on insects." Admiral Cross requested the floor. "For now," she said quietly. The chamber fell silent. "We know we're not the strongest," she continued. "We don't have your shields, your weapons, your science. But we've fought extinction more times than we can count." Threx scoffed. "Against what? Weather? Disease?" "Against ourselves," Cross replied. She gestured, and a star map appeared, human space. "Our colonies are scattered. Poorly defended. By Concord standards, yes, we should already be dead." The map changed. Human ships moved. Not in fleets, but in swarms. Civilian vessels rerouted. Stations dismantled themselves. Entire populations relocated in days. "We adapt," Cross said. "Fast." The machine mind OX9 paused longer than usual. "Human evacuation speed exceeds projected limits by 430%, it reported. Cross looked around the chamber. "You see science as perfection," she said. "We see it as a tool. When it fails, we change." Threx's mandibles clicked sharply. "What are you suggesting, human?" Cross met his gaze. "Let us fight differently." The council debated for hours. Most dismissed her ideas as reckless. Guerrilla warfare in space. Sacrificial retreats. Unpredictable maneuvers that broke every established doctrine. "Chaos is not strategy," said an elder species. Cross answered simply. It is when your enemy depends on order. Reluctantly, the Concord allowed humanity a single sector to defend. A test. If they failed, they would be ignored again. If they succeeded, no one finished that thought. As Admiral Cross left the chamber, she spoke softly to her aide. They think we're weak, she said. The aide nodded. Good, Cross replied. That means they won't see us coming. Far across the stars, car warships adjusted their course toward human space. And for the first time in the war, humanity did not run. They prepared. The Concord gave humanity one sector. Just one. It was called Sector Helios 9, a thin stretch of stars on the edge of human space. To the Concord it was expendable. To the Car Dominion it was barely worth noticing. To humanity it was a trap. Admiral Elena Cross stood on the command deck of the UNS Resolute. The ship was small by Concord standards. Its hull bore scars from decades of refits. Nothing about it looked impressive. Around her, officers worked in silence. No dramatic music. No speeches. Just focus. Status, Cross said. Evacuation complete, Commander Reyes replied. No civilians left in the sector. Cross nodded. Good. Then we can burn it. On the main display, Helios 9 glowed softly. Mining stations, refineries, old trade hubs, everything that once made the sector valuable was still there. Waiting. The Concord observers watched from a distant relay station. They expected humanity to build defenses. Shields. Fortresses. Something predictable. Instead, the humans did nothing. For 3 days. Then the car arrived. Their ships tore out of hyperspace like gods descending. Vast black wedges, each 1 kilometer long, wrapped in gravity distortions that bent starlight around them. Sensors screamed across Concord networks. Car Vanguard detected, announced a Concord officer. Fleet strength, overwhelming. The car commander, War Master Jacques, observed the sector with cold satisfaction. No defenses, he rumbled. No fleets. Just structures. He laughed, a sound like stone grinding stone. They left their bones behind. The car fleet advanced. Then Helios 9 went dark. Every station. Every beacon. Every signal vanished at once. Jacques frowned. Scan again. Nothing, replied his sensor cast. The sector is empty. That was when the first explosion bloomed. Not from weapons fire. From inside a mining station. The station tore itself apart, releasing a cloud of debris and superheated plasma directly into the path of a car cruiser. The impact shredded its gravity field. The ship folded inward and vanished in a flash of blue light. Jacques roared. Sabotage. Deploy shields. More stations detonated. Refineries overloaded. Asteroid tugs slammed their engines to full burn and became kinetic missiles. The car fleet reeled. This is inefficient, Jacques snarled. They destroy their own resources. Then the humans appeared. Hundreds of small ships dropped out of hyperspace, not in formation but everywhere. Above. Below. Inside debris clouds. Some emerged so close their hulls scraped car shields. They did not fire immediately. They scattered. Car weapons tracked targets, but the humans did not behave like fleets. They moved erratically. They vanished behind wreckage. They cut engines and drifted like debris. Confusion spread. Target solutions unstable, reported the car sensor cast. They are improvising. Then the humans attacked. Not with powerful beams. With precision. Human ships targeted gravity nodes, sensor arrays, heat vents, places Concord doctrine considered secondary. Missiles slipped through microgaps and shields. Railgun slugs punched deep, not to destroy but to cripple. One car cruiser lost its gravity field and spun uncontrollably. Another slammed into an asteroid at relativistic speed. War Master Jacques slammed his claw into his command throne. Why do they know our weaknesses? Because humans watched. Because humans learned. On the UNS Resolute, Cross watched the battle unfold. Phase 2, she said calmly. Human ships retreated. Not fleeing. Luring. The car pursued, angry now, pride wounded. They followed the humans deeper into the sector. Straight into the minefield. Human engineers had spent months hollowing asteroids, planting charges, rigging mass drivers. When the car fleet crossed the boundary, the asteroids woke up. They moved. Entire rocks accelerated, flung by hidden engines. Some exploded into clouds of shrapnel. Others struck with the force of small moons. The car formation broke. That was when the Concord observers realized the truth. This isn't a battle, whispered an Aurelian strategist. It's a hunt. Jacques roared orders, but it was too late. The humans had already changed tactics again. They closed in. Boarding pods slammed into car hulls, something no Concorde species dared attempt. Humans flooded enemy ships in vacuum suits, fighting in zero gravity, cutting power, planting charges. The car had never faced this. They were gods of science. But they had forgotten brutality. After 6 hours, the car fleet retreated. Not destroyed, but broken. War Master Jacques stared at the tactical display in disbelief. We were outplayed, he growled. Across the stars, the Concorde Council watched the aftermath in stunned silence. Sector Helios 9 was gone, reduced to debris. But the car were gone too. Threx's mandibles trembled. They sacrificed an entire sector, he said. OX9 processed the data. Correction. They traded it. Admiral Cross appeared before the council via hologram. Her uniform was scorched. Her eyes were tired. We warned you, she said. We don't fight like you. Threx looked at her differently now. What are you? He asked quietly. Cross answered without pride. Survivors. Far away, the Car Dominion regrouped. And for the first time in their long history, they marked a species as dangerous. Not because of their science, but because of their adaptability. The news spread faster than any fleet. A car vanguard, defeated. Not destroyed by superior firepower. Not erased by ancient weapons. Outmaneuvered. Across the Concorde, ancient species replayed the Battle of Helios 9 again and again. Every simulation ended the same way. The humans should have lost. But they didn't. High Scholar Threx stood before the council chamber's projection field, his mandibles stiff with unease. This engagement violates every established combat model, he said. The humans abandoned territory, resources, and order itself, yet achieved strategic victory. A dozen alien delegates argued at once. They were lucky. The car were careless. It cannot be repeated. Then the machine mind OX9 spoke. Simulation complete, it said. Under identical conditions, human victory probability remains above 61%. Silence fell. 61% against the car. That was not luck. That was method. Admiral Elena Cross returned to human space a hero, but she did not celebrate. Her fleet was battered. Ships were lost. Crews were dead. On Earth, crowds cheered. On Mars, factories doubled output. On Titan, children painted ships on school walls. But Cross saw the future clearly. This was just the opening move, she told the United Earth Council. Now they're paying attention. She was right. In the black halls of the Car Dominion, War Master Jacques stood before his high conclave. Massive figures surrounded him, their armor etched with symbols of ancient victories. You failed, one of them hissed. Jacques did not bow. We underestimated them, he said. They do not fight for control. They fight to survive. That makes them weak. Jacques' eyes burned. No. It makes them unpredictable. The conclave fell silent. The humans adapt faster than our projections, Jacques continued. They do not rely on fixed doctrine. They learn mid-battle. Change mid-battle. One elder spoke coldly. Then we will erase them completely. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would not be bypassed again. The second phase of the war began with politics. Car diplomats approached the Concorde, not with threats but with logic. The humans are destabilizers, their envoy declared. They disrupt established order. Their tactics endanger all species. Some Concorde members listened. After all, the humans did not fight cleanly. They used deception, sacrifice, psychological warfare. Fear crept in. What happens if they turn those methods on us? Whispered a crystalline delegate. Threx found himself defending humanity. They have followed every Concorde law, he argued. They only fight when attacked. But they changed the rules, another replied. Yes, Threx said slowly. That may be why they are winning. Behind closed doors, Concorde intelligence studied human history for the first time. Wars fought with sticks and stones. Empires rising and falling. Species-wide catastrophes. Near extinctions. And yet, they keep coming back, said an analyst. Stronger each time. The phrase began circulating in classified reports. Humans do not specialize. Humans adapt. The next battlefield was Erebus Reach, a critical hyperspace corridor connecting dozens of systems. The car moved to seize it, deploying a fleet 3 times larger than at Helios 9. This time the Concorde joined the defense. Their fleets formed elegant formations. shield harmonics aligned, weapons synchronized. Human ships arrived last. But, disorganized. A Concord admiral bristled. "Your timing is unacceptable," he snapped at Cross over comms. Cross replied calmly. "Trust us." The car struck first. Their opening salvo ripped through Concord shields. 2 capital ships vanished in seconds. Panic spread. "Hold formation," the Concord admiral shouted. Cross shook her head. "Break formation," she ordered her fleet. "All units, improvise." The Concord commander stared in disbelief. What? Too late. Human ships surged forward, cutting across Concord lines, drawing car fire. Some were destroyed instantly. The Concord watched in horror. They're sacrificing themselves? No. They were buying time. Human engineers flooded Concord ships with real-time data, enemy firing patterns, shield oscillations, micro-delays. "Your shields recharge too slowly," Cross transmitted. "Modulate now." Against doctrine, Concord captains obeyed. Their ships survived the next volley. The humans pushed deeper, slipping behind car lines. They targeted command ships not with force, but with disruption. Electronic warfare. Sensor ghosts. False fleets. The car fired at enemies that weren't there. Then Erebus Reach collapsed. Literally. Human mining charges detonated along the corridor's edge, destabilizing hyperspace lanes. The battlefield fractured into isolated pockets. The car fleet was split. The Concord fleets regrouped. This time they followed the humans. For 12 brutal hours the battle raged. When it ended, the car withdrew again. Losses heavy. Confidence shaken. Across the Concord something changed. Species that once mocked humanity now requested briefings. Human advisors were invited to planning tables. Not as equals, but as something new. "Consultants," one delegate said. Threx corrected him. "Partners." Far away on a quiet observation station, a young Concord analyst stared at the data. "Sir," she said softly, "if humans keep adapting like this, what happens when they stop reacting and start planning?" The question echoed in Threx's mind, because for the first time humanity was no longer just surviving. They were learning the galaxy. And the galaxy was starting to realize the humans had only just begun. The war changed tone. Until now humanity had reacted, absorbing blows, turning defeats into lessons, trading space for time. The Concord still thought of humans as a useful anomaly. That illusion ended after Erebus Reach. In the quiet that followed, Admiral Elena Cross stood before a map of the galaxy. It hovered above the command table, star systems glowing like embers. "This is where they expect us to defend," she said. Red markers showed human territory. Blue marked Concord space. Black marked car-controlled regions. Her officers watched closely. "And this," Cross continued, highlighting a distant cluster far from all three, "is where we will strike." Commander Reyes frowned. "That's outside every major supply line." Exactly. The humans were done playing by other species' rules. The first human offensive began without announcement. No fleet movements. No grand declarations. Just disappearance. 3 car logistics depots vanished within a single cycle. Not destroyed, gone. Sensors showed empty space where massive installations once stood. Car intelligence panicked. "They are hiding weapons beyond our detection," warned one cast. "No," War Master Jacques replied darkly. "They are stealing." Human boarding teams struck with surgical precision. They did not destroy depots, they captured them, stripped data cores, reversed gravity anchors, and flung entire structures into deep space. Then they studied them. On human worlds, scientists worked alongside soldiers. Engineers beside philosophers. Every captured system became a lesson. "They don't overbuild," one human analyst noted. "They perfect." "So we exploit that," another replied. "Find what they never change." The humans began to understand something the Concord never had. The car were advanced, but rigid. In the Concord Council chamber, fear gave way to argument. "This violates non-aggression protocols," protested a delegate. "They are attacking first," cried another. Threx listened in silence. OX-9 displayed projections. Human strategic initiative increasing. Probability of independent human victory rising. That sentence changed everything. "You mean," said a crystalline elder slowly, "they may not need us." Threx felt a chill. Power in the Concord was built on dependency. And humans were becoming self-sufficient. The car struck back with fury. A massive armada advanced toward New Carthage, one of humanity's core colonies. The planet was rich, populated, symbolic. Concord observers expected evacuation. Instead, they saw something unprecedented. New Carthage did not evacuate. It transformed. Cities reconfigured themselves. Towers folded underground. Orbital stations detached and spread out like spores. The planet itself became a weapon. When the car fleet arrived, their scanners showed confusion. Surface targets, disappearing. Then the sky burned. Human rail platforms emerged from the crust, firing from impossible angles. Atmosphere-based fighters used storms as cover. Civilian ships, converted overnight, acted as decoys and bombers. And beneath it all, humanity adapted again. Car energy weapons lost effectiveness as human shields changed frequency mid-impact. Armor shifted composition in real time. AI systems rewrote their own combat logic. The car had never fought a species that changed while dying. War Master Jacques watched his fleet bleed. They learned too fast, he growled. On the surface, Admiral Cross stood in a command bunker, dust falling from the ceiling. They're pushing harder, Reyes warned. We're taking losses. Cross nodded. Good. Reyes stared at her. The harder they push, Cross said quietly, the more they reveal. She turned to a new display. Car flagship, she said. Lock it. Human ships did not fire at it. They ignored it. Instead, they eliminated escorts, supply ships, communication relays. The flagship stood alone. Then the humans spoke. Admiral Cross opened a channel. War Master Jacques, she said calmly. You see now. Jacques' massive face filled the screen, fury barely contained. You defy the natural order, he roared. You are chaos. Yes, Cross replied. And chaos learns. She cut the channel. Moments later, human infiltrators shut down the flagship's power from the inside. For the first time in car history, a War Master was captured alive. The galaxy froze. The car Dominion had never lost a War Master. Never. The Concorde erupted. This changes everything, whispered a delegate. Threx looked at the human ambassador standing quietly at the chamber's edge. What do you want? He asked. The ambassador met his gaze. To survive, he said. And to make sure no one ever underestimates us again. Jacques sat in a human containment field, restrained but alive. He studied his captors with burning eyes. You could not have planned this, he said. A human guard replied simply, No. But we adapted. Jacques was silent for a long time. Then he spoke words no car had ever spoken. What are you going to do next? In a quiet room light years away, Admiral Cross looked at the galaxy map again. We're going to end this, she said. On our terms. The capture of War Master Jacques did more damage than any weapon. Across the car Dominion, command hierarchies fractured. Entire fleets hesitated, awaiting orders that never came. Car doctrine had no contingency for a captured War Master. Their science could predict trajectories of stars. But not humiliation. Jacques sat alone in a containment chamber aboard the human flagship Vigilant. No pain. No interrogation. Just silence. Humans learned quickly what unsettled the car most. Not torture. Not threats. Uncertainty. Admiral Elena Cross entered the chamber without guards. She stood at a respectful distance. You won't kill me, Jacques said. No, Cross replied. That would make you a martyr. Jacques' eyes narrowed. Then why keep me alive? Cross met his gaze. So you can watch. Humanity did not announce Jacques' capture. They leaked it. Fragments of images. Distorted audio. Incomplete reports. Enough to raise doubt. Across car space, whispers spread. The War Master lives. He speaks to humans. He gave them secrets. None of it was confirmed. None of it needed to be. Fleet commanders began questioning orders. Sensor cast double-checked data. Delay followed delay. Human strikes increased. Not large ones. Small, precise attacks, always timed when car fleets hesitated. The Concorde noticed the pattern. They're not attacking strength, said Threx quietly. They're attacking confidence. OX9 confirmed it. Human operations correlate with enemy indecision windows. In other words, humans were weaponizing doubt. The next human move shocked the galaxy. They released Jacques. Alive. Unharmed. He returned in a single, unarmed vessel, broadcast openly across car space. War Master Jacques stood before his people, armor removed. I was defeated, he said. Gasps rippled through the Dominion. Not by superior weapons, he continued, but by a species that changes faster than we can understand. The conclave erupted in outrage. "You shame us," one elder roared. Jacques turned on them. "No," he said. "I warn you." The transmission cut abruptly. Car space descended into chaos. Some fleets rallied harder. Others fractured. A few retreated. For the first time, the car were fighting themselves. Meanwhile, humanity expanded its influence quietly. Human advisors joined Concord fleets, not to command but to observe, to learn alien tactics, to absorb new ideas, and then adapt them. Human ship designs began changing weekly. Modular systems, interchangeable hulls, crews trained for multiple roles. If a pilot died, an engineer could fly. If a commander fell, a medic could lead. Every human was adaptable. That terrified the Concord. "They don't need specialists," whispered one delegate. "They turn everyone into one." Threx confronted the human ambassador. "You are becoming a power unto yourselves," he said. The ambassador nodded. "Yes." "And after the car?" The human paused. "We don't seek domination," he said carefully. "But we won't accept vulnerability." It was not reassurance. It was a warning. The car made one final gamble. They targeted Earth. Not for resources. For symbolism. A massive fleet emerged near the Sol system, larger than any before. Car commanders hoped one decisive strike would shatter human morale. Instead, they found something unexpected. Humanity was waiting. Earth's defenses were unlike anything the Concord had seen. Layers upon layers of overlapping systems. Some ancient, some experimental, some improvised. The moon bristled with hidden platforms. Mars launched autonomous swarms. Earth itself radiated energy signatures that confused sensors. The car attacked. And failed. Not because humans were stronger, but because humans had prepared for every way they had ever lost. Each car tactic met a counter. Sometimes crude, sometimes brilliant, always effective. The battle lasted 2 days. At the end, the car fleet withdrew in disarray. Earth still stood. The Concord watched in awe. "They defended their cradle world," murmured a delegate. "And they did not lose control." Threx felt something close to fear. In the aftermath, Admiral Cross addressed the galaxy. "This war did not start with us," she said. "But it will end because of us." The message was clear. Humans were no longer reacting. They were deciding outcomes. In the shadows of space, car commanders whispered the unthinkable. What if we cannot win? And worse, what if the humans know it already? The galaxy began to shift its language. At first, it had been the human anomaly. Then the human threat. Now, quietly in closed chambers and encrypted channels, a new phrase appeared. The human variable. Because no model could predict them anymore. The Concord Council convened in emergency session. Not because of a car victory. Because of a human one. OX9's projection filled the chamber, millions of data points collapsing into a single conclusion. Probability of car strategic collapse within 3 cycles, 89.4%. A murmur swept through the delegates. Threx leaned forward. And probability of human dominance afterward? The machine paused. Undefined. That frightened them more than any number. Across human space, something unprecedented occurred. Mobilization stopped. Factories slowed. Fleets held position. Humanity was not advancing. They were waiting. Admiral Elena Cross stood aboard the Vigilant, staring at a star map that no longer showed enemy markers, only pressure points. "They're breaking," Commander Reyes said quietly. "Yes," Cross replied. "Which makes them dangerous." The car Dominion was wounded, but not dead. And wounded predators lashed out. The car's final strategy was born from desperation. Not conquest. Erasure. They activated the Star Devourers, ancient weapons outlawed even in car history. Devices designed to destabilize stars, collapsing entire systems into radiation storms. No occupation. No survivors. If they could not rule the galaxy, no one would. The first star died without warning. A Concord agricultural system vanished in a silent white flash. Billions died in seconds. The galaxy froze. "They've crossed the final line," whispered a delegate. Threx turned toward the human ambassador. "What will you do?" he asked. The human did not hesitate. "We end them." Humanity moved faster than anyone thought possible. Not with fleets. With coordination. Every human system, military, civilian, scientific, synced into a single adaptive network. AI assisted, but humans made the decisions. Always humans. They had learned the car's deepest flaw. The Dominion centralized everything. Humans did not. Human strike teams hit Star Devourer facilities simultaneously across multiple sectors. Some failed. Some succeeded. But every failure taught the next team how to win. The car realized too late. "You cannot stop us all," screamed a car commander during a brief skirmish. A human soldier replied calmly over comms. "We don't need to." The final Star Devourer was hidden deep in car core space, guarded by the last intact armada. The Concorde refused to follow. "That region is suicide," said an elder species. Admiral Cross nodded. "Yes." Then humanity went alone. The Battle of Ashen Void became legend. Human ships emerged into overwhelming fire. Entire squadrons vanished instantly. But the humans kept coming. They changed formations mid-fight, abandoned ships to board enemies, turned wreckage into cover. Human losses were staggering. And yet, they advanced. Jacques, watching from exile, finally understood. "They are not fearless," he whispered. "They are accepting." The Star Devourer core came into view, a massive structure wrapped around a dying star. Human ships slammed into it. Boarding teams fought through radiation, gravity distortions, failing hulls. Inside the core, Admiral Cross herself led the final team. Alarms screamed. The star began to destabilize. Reyes shouted, "We don't have time to extract." Cross looked at the device. "Then we adapt," she said. They did not disarm it. They reprogrammed it. Using incomplete data, damaged tools, human intuition. The Devourer activated, and then reversed. The energy surge collapsed inward, consuming only the weapon itself. The star stabilized. The car armada went silent. Across the galaxy, every car weapon shut down simultaneously. The Dominion collapsed in hours. The war was over. The galaxy did not celebrate. It reeled. Humanity had not just won. They had ended an existential threat no ancient species could. Threx addressed the Concorde one final time. "The humans are no longer a junior species," he said. "They are a pillar." The machine mind OX9 added. "Human adaptability exceeds all known evolutionary models." Admiral Cross spoke last. "We don't want to rule you," she said. "But we will not be ruled by fear again." The chamber was silent. Everyone understood the truth now. Science built empires. But adaptation created survivors. And survivors endured. The galaxy was quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the stunned silence that follows a storm so large no one knows how to speak afterward. The car Dominion was gone. Not exterminated but broken beyond repair. Their fleets lay scattered, their command structure dissolved, their ancient certainty shattered. And at the center of it all stood humanity. Not crowned. Not worshipped. Just present. The Concorde Council reconvened for the first time since the war ended. The chamber looked the same, but the balance within it had shifted forever. Where once humans had stood unnoticed, now their platform occupied the center ring. Admiral Elena Cross stood alone. She looked older. Not weakened, hardened. Threx addressed the assembly. "For eons," he said, "this council believed mastery of science equaled mastery of fate." A projection appeared, images of fallen worlds, shattered fleets, burning stars. "We were wrong." The delegates watched in silence. "We ask now," Threx continued, turning to Cross, "not what humanity can do, but what it chooses to do." Every species leaned forward. Cross did not speak immediately. When she did, her voice carried no triumph. "We will rebuild," she said. "Not as conquerors. As partners." Some delegates relaxed. Then she continued. "But understand this clearly. Humanity will never again accept being considered expendable." The chamber remained silent. It was not a threat. It was a boundary. Across human space, the cost of victory became visible. Ships under repair. Cities rebuilding. Memorials rising on Earth, Mars, Luna, and worlds that had no names yet, only numbers and scars. Humanity mourned its dead. But it also learned. Children studied the war not as legend but as lesson. Schools taught adaptability alongside mathematics. Command academies trained leaders to expect failure and survive it. Human culture shifted. They no longer asked, "What if we lose?" They asked, "What do we change when we do?" War Master Jacques watched the stars from a quiet world at the edge of known space. Exile, not imprisonment. Humanity had allowed him to live. Not out of mercy. Out of confidence. A human envoy visited him once. "Do you hate us?" the envoy asked. Jacques considered the question. No, he said finally. I fear you. The envoy nodded. So do we, he replied. That's why we adapt. The Concord rewrote its laws. Rigid doctrines were replaced with flexible frameworks. Static defense strategies gave way to layered contingencies. Human advisors were no longer consultants. They were architects. Some species resisted. Others embraced the change. Those who adapted survived. Those who refused slowly faded. Years passed. Then decades. Humanity expanded, but carefully. No forced annexations. No cultural erasure. Instead, human trade networks grew. Human mediators resolved conflicts. Human engineers rebuilt stars damaged by the car. And always, humans prepared. Because they remembered. One day, far beyond Concord borders, a new signal was detected. Unknown origin. Unknown technology. Older than the car. The council panicked. Threx turned to the human delegation. What should we do? He asked. Admiral Cross, now older, her hair streaked with gray, smiled faintly. We listen, she said. And then? Asked a delegate. Cross met their gaze. Then we adapt. On Earth, a child watched ships rise into the sky and asked her mother, Are we the strongest now? Her mother thought for a moment. No, she said. We're just the ones who don't stop changing. The child smiled. Satisfied. Far across the stars, ancient civilizations observed humanity from afar. They had seen empires built on power. They had seen gods fall. But never before had they seen a species that treated change itself as a weapon. And so the galaxy learned its final lesson. Science could build wonders. Weapons could destroy worlds. Empires could rise and fall. But adaptability endured. And humanity, once underestimated, once ignored, stood unbroken.